Hello, the good folks of the vinyl community. This is Mike, PC31, the vinyl policeman. This is in response to a thread started by Chris Propfe. Chris Propfe, musically obsessed, as we all know. And Chris started a really brilliant thread, actually, which I think a lot of people have jumped on now because it is such a great idea. He's basically saying show 3 minimum, 5 maximum Hipgnosis album covers you've got in your collection. And we've probably all got loads and loads and loads. Well, I feel quite smug because I'm one of those kids who's going into the exam, and the day before he's given this. So Mrs. PC31 bought me this for Christmas, and it's an absolutely fantastic book. Vinyl album, cover art, the complete Hypnosis catalogue by Aubrey Powell, and a forward in it by Peter Gabriel, because there's a lot of Peter Gabriel sleeves. There's the Ecstasy one at the back. But it's an absolutely gorgeous book, published by Thames and Hudson. I think it only came out, the end of last year, but I certainly got it for Christmas. So I'm afraid I cheated the shit out of this one. Just on the forward there by Peter Gabriel, because Hypnosis did several of his solo albums. Peter Gabriel said Storm would go in the ring with every artist he worked with, but he saved his best punches for the record companies. Even though they were footing the bill, he showed them no respect. The record companies would often love to have gone elsewhere, but this was a time when the artists, not the accountants, had the power, and when they wanted Hypnosis, they could insist. Many of the most famous images had no title, no text, and anathema to most record companies. The Hypnosis view was that art and advertising didn't belong in the same bed. So my first one I'm going to show 5. I could have shown loads actually, because I got the book. But the first one is Bad Company, and fantastic Bad Company. This is the original press I got way back in the day. And of that Bad Company one, I told you I'm going to cheat. I'm going to read a few lines from the book. So it says, 1974, Led Zeppelin's manager, Peter Grant, called Hypnosis one day to say that he was taking on another band. Aubrey Powell, I drove down to Peter's manor house in Sussex, where he played an album full of potential hits. This is the album. It was deliberately shrouded in mystery, a tactic typical of Peter. No photographs of the band, a great name, Bad Company, very much in the rock and roll genre, no pre-release music or publicity. Peter believed that the music was good enough, it should speak for itself. The cover affects that brief, with the name abbreviated to Bad Co, which made for a bold graphic, with a thumbprint set within the white spaces, smacking of ne'er-do-wells and nefarious deeds, the sort of detective story in type. It worked brilliantly. The very first single went straight up the US charts, and the band were an overnight success. And that's Bad Company. And you can just see the thumbprints actually in the white of the Bad Co. Fantastic stuff. My second one, and the cheating continues. Chris actually showed Never Say Die, which is a fantastic cover. I'm going to show the next one, which is Technical Ecstasy, Black Sabbath. The last one before Ozzy left the band, and then obviously came back again to make another album, 13, but Technical Ecstasy. Let's keep the cheating going, shall we? 1976, Ozzy Osbourne strode back and forth in front of the ideas propped up against the wall, muttering, like that, don't like that. There was no conversation, no idle patter, just no sales pitch, the explanations that had to be provided. That's the one, he suddenly said, pointing to the robots and turning to the rest of the room. 3 minutes tops. Everyone nodded or mumbled in silent agreement. I was delighted, said Aubrey Powell, if slightly stunned. Fantastic. So that is 8th Sabbath album, Technical Ecstasy. My next one is from 1976, AC/DC, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Brilliant album. And what was said about that in my Hypnosis Bible is the portrait is of unknown persons. No one is present from AC/DC, and there is certainly no one famous there, and that's the point. We use newspaper-style blackouts to disguise the faces of those who indulge in strange practices, who satisfy someone else's proclivities, and who have no wish to be exposed to judgment, criticism, or the law. They keep themselves safe from prying eyes, but not us. They arouse curiosity, and that's the narrative behind this colourful photographic collage. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Another fabulous album. My fourth one is, as I say, Peter Gabriel did the foreword, and 1977, Peter Gabriel's first solo album, PG1, that one, and one with Salisbury Hill on, etc. And what Aubrey Power, so it's basically Aubrey Power has pulled this book together with loads of inputs from other people, but he's pulled it together. Central London, traffic at a standstill. Storm Thorgerson, sat in a cab, cursing. Bored, he looked at the cab alongside and became engrossed in the droplets of rain on the bonnet. Each was a world unto itself, held by its own viscosity and kept separate by the wax polish. He stored the image away. And then they took that image, they took that idea. Storm shot the photo with a trusty Nikon. The back cover and liner consisted of further shots of a furtive Peter, culminating in a close-up as he opened his eyes to reveal sparkling pupils, merely weird contact lenses. It suddenly looked magical. And the last one for Chris's great thread. Going through this book, there are just so many great album covers they did. I mean, obviously we all know about Floyd and Zeppelin, etc. But loads of Paul McCartney ones, which I didn't appreciate. The reason I didn't show any of those was because virtually all the photographs were taken by Linda and McCartney, with Aubrey Power as well. But they tend to be Linda, and where Paul, such a control freak with everything, a lot of the art direction was from Paul with Hypnosis. So the final one I'm going to show, which I think is an absolutely fascinating one, is 10cc's Greatest Hits from 1979. And this is such a detailed cover. Where it's a Greatest Hits album, what they actually designed into the cover was lots of hits. Gangland hit, Babe Ruth hitting, Titanic hitting an iceberg, a boxer punch, William Tell arrow through an apple, all over the cover. So it's really detailed, and that continues on the back as well. And again, what they said about that one is, well, it's a cover about greatest hits, another set of Storm puns utilising imagery that was literally greatest hits. Babe Ruth with the baseball legend, a boxing glove, William Tell's arrow through the centre of an apple, Caesar about to be bumped off by Brutus, a gangland killing, a bank job, the sinking of the Titanic. So all the things on there, they all relate to hits. And even the centre of the record, I mean, that's where they mocked up a toy boat, a pretend Titanic, and they put it in the basin of water, and they put polystyrene, they used polystyrene Hypnosis for the icebergs, and that's how they created the centre. Absolutely fascinating. When you read this book, loads and loads of stories like that, how the things are created. As I say, really recommend it if you can get hold of it. Thames and Hudson, vinyl album, cover art, the complete Hypnosis catalogue, Aubrey Powell, forward by Peter Gabriel. Okay, great idea, Chris. Hope everybody jumps on the back of this one. Thanks, folks.